Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40K Universe. I am your host Gershwin and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today we continue talking about the Tau Empire as we get into the Tidewall Defense Network. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We post Warhammer 40K content every single day, and if you have any suggestions, just comment down below. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts on the Tidewall Defense Networks of the Tau. In keeping with the tenets contained within the Code of Fire, the Tau make use of highly mobile fortifications known as Tidewalls, propelled across the battlefield by carefully stabilized grav repulsor engines. These self-contained rebounds can be both used as attack and defense, and avoid the main weakness of traditional strongholds by being in constant motion. The most commonly seen fortification utilized by the forces of the Tau Empire is the Tidewall shield line, a wall of energy behind which infantry can take cover. As the enemy's artillery hiss and crack harmlessly from the shield line's refractive field, the fire warriors it protects unleashes a blistering hail of pulse fire in return. Worse still, for any aggressor attempting to drive the Tau from cover, this force wall can redirect kinetic energy, sending las blasts and armor-piercing shells ricocheting back into the enemy ranks. Even as a stationary defense position, the Tidewall shield line would excel, but it is its maneuverability and versatility that makes it so beloved amongst the Tau Empire's soldiery. This shield line can be redeployed at will, soaring into the air and carrying its team of fire warriors along with it. This mobility can be used to fall back to another defensive position should the situation appear dire, but it also means that Tau commanders can isolate and outflank enemy spearheads. This lures them into expanding their energy on a frontal assault before simply shifting the line of battle around them and trapping them in a hellish corridor of fire. Commander Shadowsun herself demonstrated the deadly efficiency of such a tactic during the Battle of Perfectia, a key conflict of the Third Sphere expansion. Facing the ferocious and swift assaults of the White Scar Space Marine chapter, Shadowsun arranged a series of interlocking fire zones. The White Scars were lured in with the illusion of a traditional static defense. When the Space Marines were entirely committed to their lightning attack, Shadowsun gave the order, and the crisscross lines of the Tau shield lines rose into the air on waves of anti-grav energy, and then reformed in firing lines on the flanks of the White Scar's forces. Suddenly, far from being on the offensive, the Space Marines found themselves subjected to a searing storm of plasma fire. Similar tactics have been used to great effect during the long wars against the Orcs and the purging of High Fleet Gorgon. Linking and supporting the Tau's fortified lines are Tidewall drone ports, mobile bunkers that carry an arsenal of tactical drones. These potent machines begin most battles powered down, passively downloading combat telemetry data from their parent platforms, while the drone ports garrisoning fire warriors engage the enemies from behind its fortified walls. However, at the command of the platform's controller, the drones detach, darting out to provide covering fire, marking targets for missile strikes or employing built-in shield generators to provide further protection to those manning the defenses. Like the shield line, these support bunkers can be rearranged to suit the ever-changing shape of the battlefield. And finally, with its built-in rail weaponry, the Tidewall gun rig provides the firepower to deal with heavy enemy assault units or advancing ranks of armor. Manned by hard-eyed fire warriors, these mobile turrets mount devastating railguns that are more than capable of ripping apart enemy tanks or monstrous beasts with volleys of hypersonic rounds. The combination of maneuverability and tremendous firepower possessed by these weapon platforms make them exceptionally dangerous, whether hovering into battle with their guns blazing, backing slowly away from the enemy advance while systematically eliminating their heaviest armor, or rising from concealment to catch the foe in a lethal crossfire. Tidewall gun rigs provide the Tau's defensive line with an indispensable anti-armor punch. When the Tidewall shield lines, drone ports, and gun rigs are linked together, a truly formidable defense network can be created, against which enemy attacks break like crashing waves on an unyielding rock. Safely shielded within their energized rebounds, the Tau's disciplined infantry can unleash the ferocious combined firepower of their pulse weaponry at will, cutting down the helpless foes with cool precision. Should enemy armor threaten to overwhelm the position, gun rigs unleash a hail of hypersonic projectiles that punch through inch-thick armor to superheat and explode their target. Meanwhile, tactical drones will hover amidst the fray, providing indispensable fire support or shielding the fire warriors from incoming rounds. Even in the unlikely event that an enemy assault threatens to break through their fearsome obstacle, the entire array can be rearranged at will, falling back to set out a secondary kill zone that the enemy must conquer. When several of these Tidewall defense networks deploy at once, they form a floating fortress, an unbreachable obstacle that dominates the battlefield and obliterates all in its path. At the colony world of Gainra, the Tau from Vurla Sept held out for 3 solar spans in such a stronghold, while hordes of slavering Tyranids thrashed and died amidst their unrelenting hail of pulse fire. On Cygna 6, the human warriors of the Mordian 103rd Regiment suffered a 96% Tau casualty rate when attempting to drive the Tau from their defense networks, despite heavily outnumbering their opponent. Though the Tau still favor these tactics that involve their teams taking the fight to the enemy on the ground, more and more commanders are embracing the power of Tidewall fortifications, creating entirely new strategies to take advantage of their unique and dynamic capabilities. As was said by the Tau hero, Fiovre Telu of the Borkon Sept, the ultimate goal of any military technology is to multiply the combat effectiveness of those who utilize it. In this regard, the Tidewall network is perhaps one of the greatest achievements. A handful of fire warriors, protected by such a fortification, can hold back an enemy force many times their number. And those were 40 facts on the Tidewall defense networks of the Tau Empire. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Share it with your friends on Reddit or Facebook. It helps out the channel when you do so. Now, the reason I wanted to create this video is because I wanted to learn more about how to make Tau competitive. We played a game on Sunday. It was supposed to be the Sound Alchemist and me versus 2 other friends. I was going to play Orcs. He was going to play either Space Marines or Tau. I really wanted him to play Space Marines, but he ended up bringing Tau. But then one of the friends didn't show up, so it became a free-for-all, and it was a Nurgle player with Mortarion versus the Orc guy, me, and then the Tau guy, the Sound Alchemist. And unfortunately, the Sound Alchemist got the short end of the stick because he set up in the middle, but he did get to go first. And his army didn't do as good, so he left his codex at my crib. So I started looking through it, and I was kind of interested in this whole Tidewall defense network. And on the tabletop, I wanted to know if it's actually competitive. I haven't made my decision yet. I wanted to read the lore just to get kind of an idea of how the Tau are supposed to use it. And it's supposed to be something that on paper seems to be good, but I don't know about the tabletop. If you guys play Tau, how does the shield line and the drone ports and the gun rigs work for you guys? Is there a specific tactic that the Sound Alchemist should be using? I'm kind of inspired to create my own Tau army. I know this year I said that I was going to start as many new armies as I could, just buy a bunch of the starter sets, but then the prices went up, so I was like, yeah, maybe not. But maybe I will start a Tau army this year with like Guevesas. That would be pretty fun. And I'm probably not going to buy the GW products, not because I don't like them, but I think there is a cheaper option. There's this company called M3 Gaming Studios. They produce a bunch of Tau terrain, and it's supposed to be like, you know, alien terrain, but it can easily be converted to be any type of Tidewall shield wall or a drone port or anything else. If you don't know about this company, or if you haven't checked them out, definitely do so. Again, it's m3gamingstudios.com. We've talked to them before in the past. They actually just funded a really cool Kickstarter where they're building kind of Imperial Guard looking things. They have a hangar. They have a couple of other bunker-like creations, so definitely jump on over there and check them out. I'll put a link down in the description below. But that's probably what I'm going to end up doing, because it's just cheaper. Buy those things and kind of use them as a Tau wall and stuff like that. But again, if you guys play Tau, please comment down below. Let me know what kind of tactics would make a Tau army competitive, and of course it's going to help the Sound Alchemist next time he plays Tau, which will probably not be for a while. But again, if you guys enjoy our content and you want to see more, jump on over to Patreon, link down in the description. With a simple $1 a month, it helps us create more videos for you guys. If you don't want to support us on Patreon, or you can't support us on Patreon, we understand. Simply by watching, liking, commenting, it helps out the channel when you do so. So thanks for everything, guys, and I will talk to you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate signing out.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.